Hello guys, Flanker here. In case you missed it, the verbal NDA has been recently lifted, meaning it's now allowed to talk about what happened during the pre-alpha 2 testing phase, but you still can't show in-game footage or screenshots. As someone who had a chance to participate in this testing phase, I've compiled a list of 25 useful tips for new players to help them save time. This is the first but definitely not the last video on this topic, so consider subscribing to the channel for more content like this, especially if you plan to participate in Alpha 2. A quick shout out to my Twitch subs. Guys, I am really grateful for your kind support. As you probably know, there are various types of bags for different resources. When it comes to purchasing novice level bags, do not buy bags for harvesting, fishing, or hunting. If you plan to chop trees, only in that case you should use lumberjacking bags, in all other cases use mining bags. The reason is that resources can be placed in any type of bag, and the only difference when using the correct bags is the increased stack size, up to 23 compared to 20. For example, if I put ore in a mining bag, the stack size will be 23, but if I put fish in the same bag, the stack size will be 20. However, a novice mining bag has 4 slots, each 2x2 in size, whereas a fishing bag has 4 slots sized 2x1, because fish is 2x1 in size. This means I can store 160 fish in a mining bag, but only 92 fish in a fishing bag. Hunting bags have slots the same size as mining bags, but the average player will likely engage in mining more frequently than hunting. However, if you are an exception, feel free to use hunting bags instead of mining. Lastly, the only resource with a non-standard size is wood, which is 3x1 in size, so always use lumberjacking bags for it. Don't forget to always carry 1-2 stacks of rations, they restore both HP and mana when you're out of combat. This way you'll spend much less time sitting and regenerating while farming mobs. It's especially important for solo players who don't have a cleric or bard nearby to help. Rations are very cheap and can be purchased from almost any vendor. When talking to almost any vendor, there is a repair button in the bottom left corner of the dialog window. I didn't notice it right away myself the first time, but it's there. By clicking it, you can repair your gear for a small amount of copper or silver. This tip is extremely important, so please pay attention. When you buy something from a vendor and have your inventory open, the item will appear in your inventory after the purchase. If you immediately click right mouse button on the item, then instead of equipping it, you'll sell it back to the vendor, because selling items to a vendor is done by clicking right mouse button. So after you finish trading, you should first close the trade window, then open your inventory, and then equip the item. Unfortunately, I'm pretty sure that even after watching this video, many players will still accidentally make this mistake at least once, but now you've been warned. Players can have 2 weapons equipped at the same time. Even if you're only using 1 weapon in combat, it's still a good idea to have a second weapon in the slot, because the stats from the second weapon will still be applied. Additionally, if you have 2 weapons equipped, you'll gain weapon XP for both, even if the second weapon is never used. Let's say you're a ranger using only a bow and you get 100 weapon XP for the bow after killing a mob. But if you have a second weapon equipped, you'll receive 100 XP for both weapons. For Alpha 2, the consequences of corruption have been significantly increased to prevent griefing. Currently, even killing one non-flag player imposes a 25% dampening penalty and comes with the risk of losing 1 to 3 pieces of equipped gear. And you can't avoid this by unequipping items and putting on others. You'll still lose the gear you were wearing at the time of the PK. So my advice is simple, just don't. Commissions are not the best way to grind XP or make gold. You can take commissions if they happen to be on your way, or if you want to complete them when the opportunity arises, but there is no real point in focusing on them deliberately. You will earn far more XP and glint just by grinding mobs. However, they are great if you enjoy questing and exploration. Keep in mind that after completing a commission, you don't need to go back to the node, you can simply click complete in your quest journal. When you arrive at a new location, don't forget to visit the Ember Spring to activate a new respawn point. You probably wouldn't want to spend 15 minutes getting to a spot, dying, and then having to run all the way back again. You don't really need to buy low-level gear from a vendor. There are plenty of locations with goblins, and they drop all the starting gear, including pieces that aren't sold by vendors. You can just farm them until you've collected a full set of armor and jewelry. If an event pops up near you, make sure to participate. They're usually not very difficult, but offer a decent amount of XP as a reward. For example, to the northeast of Lionhold, there is a frequent event where you need to defend a caravan from a goblin attack. It consists of 3 phases, and upon completion, you'll you'll receive around 12k XP, which is quite a lot, especially on low levels. A few minutes right northeast of Linehold is the laboratory. The vendor there sells several useful consumables. Novice health and mana salves are used to recover HP and mana during the combat. The vendor also offers buff scrolls for the 6 primary attributes: Strength, Dexterity, Constitution, Wisdom, Intelligence, and Mentality. Additionally, there are scrolls for adventuring, gathering, processing, and crafting XP. The buff scroll effect lasts for 3 hours, but you can only have one scroll buff active at any given time. If you continue heading northeast from the laboratory, you'll come across the cookhouse. There you can buy fresh and fruit salads from the vendor, which provide buffs for physical power and magical power, respectively. They are quite affordable and their effect lasts for 60 minutes. And just like with scrolls, you can only have one food buff active at any given time. By using both scroll and food buffs simultaneously, you can make your character significantly stronger. While questing, pay attention to what the NPCs are telling you. Some quests will have map markers, but not all of them. However, during conversations with NPCs, you might receive hints or clues about what to do and where to go, so always listen carefully. In both PvP and PvE, there are times when you're kiting or need to keep your distance from an enemy. Using a dodge roll is, of course, one way to do that. However, if you combine a dodge with a jump, you'll not only see a cool animation, but also increase the distance covered. You can also use the terrain to your advantage for better kiting. For example, if you're on a hill, use jump and dodge downhill. Thanks to the momentum, you'll create a much larger gap between you and your enemy. Try it out and you will easily see how it works. Different vendors sell various types of artisan gear for gathering, processing, and crafting. If you plan to focus on a specific artisan skill, be sure to purchase at least a novice level artisan gear. When you open your character information, you'll see the artisan tab. Your equipped tools and artisan gear are placed in the slots on this tab. Keep in mind that you don't have to remove your main gear, as artisan gear is equipped in separate slots. If you're focused on processing, keep in mind that in addition to gaining artisan skill XP, you also earn adventuring XP. Processing takes a fair amount of time, but it doesn't require your active presence. So for a small fee, you can not only get the processed resources, but also gain some extra experience points. If you've been farming mobs for a while and glint starts taking up the space in your inventory, you can always convert it into higher tier glint by clicking right mouse button on it. The exchange ratio is 1 to 10, meaning 10 dull glint can be converted into 1 dim glint, and so on. There are 3 character skill trees: the archetype skill tree, stamina skill tree, and weapon skill tree. When you reach a new adventuring level, you earn 1 skill point for archetype skills and 1 skill point for the stamina skill tree. Upon reaching a weapon mastery level, you receive a skill point for the weapon skill tree. These are 3 separate skill trees and you get distinct points for each one. There are several mobs that are particularly annoying and have a high chance of killing you. Watch out for wolves, they are very dangerous and a wolf of your level can easily take you down if you're not careful. The same goes for bears. Additionally, goblin shamans are quite tricky as well. They cast poison clouds where your character is standing, and those clouds deal significant damage. While fighting shamans, make sure to keep moving, react quickly to their poison cloud casts, and dodge immediately. If you die or relog, your toggle abilities will be deactivated and you will need to use them again. So don't forget to keep an eye on them all the time. When it comes to lake fishing, this type of fishing can be done while you're AFK. Simply find any body of water, place the fishing skill on your action bar, and activate it. This way you can leave your character for a while and you will earn some adventuring XP, fishing XP, and fish. However, keep in mind that if you don't take any actions at all, the AFK timer might kick you out of the game. If I remember correctly, the timer is currently set to 30 minutes. Before leaving your character to fish, don't forget to repair your fishing rod so it doesn't break while you're AFK. When it comes to archetypes, the early game experience may vary. Some archetypes feel quite comfortable at early levels, while others reveal their full potential a bit later. In general, you'll be able to truly understand the archetype around level 12 when you have access to a decent number of abilities and can test them out. So don't make premature judgments about archetypes, give them some time and play for a bit before making a conclusion. Don't forget that Ashes of Creation is not a finished game and it's currently in the Alpha 2 phase. Therefore, you may and most likely will encounter bugs. When that happens, type hash bug in chat and a bug report form will appear. Describe the bug and how to replicate it, choose the appropriate category and bug priority, and submit the form. Keep in mind that the devs will automatically see the location from which the bug report was submitted, so you don't need to specify that. Don't be lazy about doing this, especially if the bug is serious. The sooner the devs get the report, the sooner the bug will be fixed. Some of the players might find Ashes of Creation a little bit grindy. I'll share a simple tip that helps make any grind more enjoyable for me personally. During grind sessions, especially if it's something repetitive, your brain isn't getting enough stimulation and you may end up getting bored. As a happy owner of a second monitor, I easily fill that gap by watching a movie or YouTube on the side. You can do the same even if you don't have a second monitor. For example, you can listen to a podcast in the background or set up a browser tab to display on top of your game in a corner of your screen. If you've made it this far, I hope you found the tips I've shared useful. So I'd recommend subscribing to my channel to ensure you don't miss the upcoming videos with more tips, tricks, and recommendations that are coming soon. I am Flanker, and I'll see you soon.